teaching me the necessary skills I need to actually do what I want to do. Thank you.
Water, sanitation, health and nutrition, child protection, social policy, and others. And I'm also the technical lead for the implementation of this platform called Ingazi, which we implement in collaboration with the Ministry of Youth and the Ministry of Public Service and Labor. So I'm very happy to be here today to talk to you about this platform. I understand that most of you are great minds coming up with business ideas. Some of you, it may be a means to an end. This is how you want to catalyze your growth and your career advancement. For some, you've seen an issue in the society that you want to address. I remember you mentioned something about growing up in the farming world and how these insights are helping you come up with technology solutions, and so many more reasons why I'm sure you're all coming up with businesses. And unfortunately, like any path you take in life, there's no trajectory of your career you can take. They can't hear me? Okay, should I stand up? Deliver the soap tomorrow. Do you have something to use? Can we find an alternative? At least learning how to manage such crises is also something that you must know. So I'm trying to allude to the different subjects that we have on the platform to tell you that from conflict resolution, from interpersonal skills to public speaking, communications in the workplace and beyond, management, budgeting, to know how to really put to use those little funds you get from an application. All these are things that you need to know. And usually for someone who has the means, they can access different platforms that are out there, but Ingazi is a free platform, so you don't have to pay for either the courses or the certificates. You can come, take real life scenario cases. So this is not where you're learning about the history of business. This is where you learn about the real life skills or business skills that you need to apply in your small business. This is where you get to, beyond learning, getting skills, getting certified, you get to also build your own confidence. The business, again, this is relevant to all sectors. You want to be able to say, okay, give me this funding when you're sure that you're not going to lose the money. There's so many cases of competitions and grant applications where young people are given 10 million, 50 million, hundreds of millions even. But then 5 years later, even 2 years later, when they're asked, where is the money? They don't know. Maybe you had a family emergency and you're like, it's okay, I'll just take 10 million and I'll deal with this quickly and I'll make it back. Or it's, you decided that you need a fancy office, and so you get a fancy office and then, no profits, no return. The investors are asking you what are the profits. If it's something you need to pay back, you're struggling to pay that back. And again, all this, if you look at it, comes from a place of not knowing better. You didn't have the skills to manage this money. You went for it and you acted, on instinct. This is what I need, this is what I have. This, for me to feel comfortable, I need to first pay for my little sister's school fees, or I need to pay for my student loan, but that money was not for that. And without this kind of skill where you know how to make the informed decision, where you know how to tell your relative, excuse me, I know you're hurting, I know you're struggling, but this is not money for that. Let me make this business grow, and from my profits, I can then invest into what I want. You're able to say, out of the profits, I need to pay rent, I need to pay my employees, I need to invest into this new app, I need to do this and that before I'm able to start cashing on money and using it for my personal benefits. So I'm just giving you real life examples to show you how this cycle usually goes for people. One will say, I didn't get the money, they'll make noise, they get the money, it ends like that. And again, when now you're approaching these investors to say, give young people financing, give young people money, give young people a chance so that they can actually make it, they're all saying the same thing. You give young people money, they don't know how to manage it. These are bank funds or loans or whatever donor funds that we need to report against, you know. Even if it's the European Union saying they're giving a grant for 100 entrepreneurs, they still need to know what happened with that money. And telling them you dealt with a family or personal issue is not what they gave you the money for. Or telling them, I couldn't make back the money, yet when you're pitching, you are very positive that, you know, I will make this money in 1 year. You're giving very unreasonable timelines because, again, you don't have some skills in terms of budgeting. You didn't realize that in addition to rent, in addition to electricity, in addition to staff, you might have some other costs that come up. You know, there could be a hazard that happens and you need to, you know, you need insurance. Did you plan for insurance? Did you think that you need marketing? Did you think that you need, you know, all these things come from the technical skills that you can easily learn on Ingazi. So I'm telling you about this just to open your mind to learning. It feels like you've learned, especially for someone who's in university or who's graduated. You feel like you've learned enough, but it will be easier in your journey if you're able to open up yourself to learning as of now than it will be further across the line. If it's 10 years down the line and you're saying, I have my university degree, I'm never going back to school, there's someone else who is going on Ingazi, on Coursera, on these platforms. They're taking the skills, they're learning new ways of farming. You're still stuck with the old ways. You're not knowing that there's a way to tie farming maybe to a cloud. You know, you can have a database of farmers or of products on the cloud, and someone else is doing it. That person is who investors will give their money, not you. So learning how the learning process benefits you and it benefits your business is something very, very important at this stage of your careers. And I highly urge you to, whenever you can, just visit the platform, see what's there that you don't know. No one is watching you, no one is coming to see, okay, maybe she doesn't speak English well. But you know you don't. And you know that you want to pitch to people that speak English well. Or you don't know French, and you know that you want to pitch your business to maybe French donors who are the most prominent in funding agricultural business. So I'm sorry, you keep coming up. Someone needs to tell me another sector they're in. I spoke about agriculture way too many times. What's your business idea in? Anyone? Creative arts, perfectly. So we have people who still think of creative arts as, you know, it's a singer, that's it. The only way as a singer you can make money is you go to a stage and you perform. People are making millions and billions out of streams. You know, they're using Spotify, YouTube, and so many other platforms to make money from their homes. They're sitting in a small studio, they're recording a song maybe, or they're not even recording a song, they're just recording a TikTok. And from that they're making money. But because you're not learning, you only scroll TikTok just for entertainment. You look at this video, oh, this person is funny, or this person can't dance. They can't dance, but they're making money out of their poor skills. I know you have somewhere seen, for the good dancers, you have somewhere seen a video and you're like, I can dance better than this person. But because you're not putting yourself out there, because you're not learning of how all these things work, someone else is making money while you're sitting there. So opening yourself up to learning, realizing that the world is fast changing, technology is becoming a huge part of everything that we're doing. In the last decade, something like this would have been delivered at a center where you go, you take a paper, you learn. But because of where the world is going, we have digitized the courses. So it's not just reading through PDFs and saying, okay, chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, getting overwhelmed. But you're having interactive courses where you get to learn directly from maybe this is an animated icon, maybe this is someone who looks like you, in a real life context where you're being asked questions like, you have X example of a conflict in your workplace, how do you deal with it? So this is not just someone saying you will have conflict because you know you will have conflict, but you're being given a real life example so that you're able to learn, test, put your knowledge to the test and see what kind of decision would I make in such a case? You know, this is not you waiting for the time when you're in the business, you're struggling, maybe you don't have a partner, all this is on your head, and then you have to learn how to make a decision and maybe fail. But a course like this gives you a chance to sort of get like a preview of all the challenges you face, because when you look at it, there's no challenge as an entrepreneur you're facing today that maybe 10 years ago people were not facing. It's different packaging, it's different context. It could be lack of real-time and modern technology. Someone 10 years ago faced the same issue, might have been different kind of tech, but these are problems that are faced by all the people in different stages of their businesses. So take the time to learn from these people, learn from the content that's on this platform, which is also not created in schools. This is the kind of content where a business is coming and saying, okay, like Sonadwa, for instance, is developing a course on insurance. So you're learning from a local company where you're operating what insurance means for agriculture, what insurance means for aviation, what insurance means for education, the different sectors you're all venturing into. You're able to understand what does insurance mean for the sector. What is medical insurance? What is life insurance? Which kind of insurance do I need for my business? And so this is not a boring course that you'll take. I remember the speaker yesterday mentioned how she took, I think, 7 years of business school, but has never applied anything she learned in school. And that's a challenge most of us are facing. You're going into school, you're consuming all this material, but at the end of the year, or at the end of your degree, you're not able to take any of that and apply it into the workplace. Troubleshoot, here's how to use Excel, here's how to use PowerPoint, Word, and all these tools which, again, regardless of what field you're in, no one wants a business person that's sending them letters. Send an email, this is what people use now, but do you know how to write an email? Or maybe because you didn't get the chance to learn how to write an email, you're writing an email and the person feels like you're attacking them. You know, your tone sounds maybe a bit too elevated, and the person feels like, you know, sometimes you read a message and the way you're reading it is maybe not how the person meant to say it. But because of how they formulated the words, it's like a message in all caps. It looks like they're shouting it, they're like, please send this now, you know? And maybe that's not the right way to talk to a client. And something so small like that can actually affect whether or not you get funding for your business, or whether or not someone recommends you for you know, a project or something. So learning how to build all these different skills that are actually at the end of the day going to define what your business turns into, what your outcomes are, and how people relate with you. There's a thing, schools, yeah? You know someone who will come and they will convince you, and you feel respected when they're talking to you, you feel like they're listening, you feel like they're valuing you. Again, these are skills that some people get naturally. Like, you know, you're just born like that from when you're children. This person always knows how to get permission from your parents. This person always knows how to, you know, they can navigate their way easily. These are also skills that you can learn using a platform like Ingazi. And these are skills that will serve you in your businesses. You want to be able to walk into a bank and actually get that loan. And 70% of it is, do you have the papers? Are you registered? Are you, you know, do you have, if it's an NGO, is it RGB, is it certified? But there's a 30% there that depends entirely on how you present yourself. How did you show up? Are you well groomed? Are you speaking respectfully? Are you mindful of the different people in the room? Do you speak to the CEO respectfully? Do you remember to, you know, really sell your idea without sounding like you're showing off too much? Do you remember to balance when to raise your voice and when to step back so that people can talk? All these soft skills, again, are 90% chances of why businesses don't succeed, because people say it's just, it's a person being charming or not, but it's not that simple. It's skills, it's things you can refine. There's a public speaking course on the platform which can help you learn how to present an idea. It's one thing to have learned things in university, but it's another thing to be able to apply. Which words do I filter? Every time I'm asked for something in the workplace, do I take the whole chapter, or do I know how to flesh out what's really important in that situation? So beyond the skilling and the courses, once you're able to build that confidence for yourself and for your business, another thing that we really, really want to support young people with here is access to information. Understand what are the different sectors. Some of these things we've learned in school, but some of the things are not available because maybe the modules you're taking in school are outdated. And it's a whole process to reform a syllabus in education, but this is a platform where you can easily access information that tells you you can be in agriculture and not be a farmer. You can be in hydroponics, you can be, the different options you have. You can be a business person that does retail, that does wholesale, that does maybe just distribution, all the different channels you can take. It's a platform that will help you to understand from levels like high school, like university, which informed decisions you can make at the different stages. What skilling opportunities are out there, what programs are out there for me. If you use LinkedIn, you'll see people constantly uploading and saying, I'm pleased to inform you that I have taken this new course and I have got this new certificate and I have this new job. People are not really posting on there to show off, but it's to build a resume so that people can know, Christelle has actually taken this course, Christelle has actually certified for this training. Christelle, again, building that sort of confidence and in yourself and in people who you interact with. So you're able to get that pathways information to make informed decisions. You're able to build an AI-generated portfolio. So this is where you come and say, these are my names, this is my educational background, these are the certificates I have. After you upload the work, it's visible to also the talent seekers, the recruiters, so people who are looking for young freelancers to work with. They can come on this platform and say, I'm looking for a freelancer in creative design. I'm looking for a freelancer who can write. I'm looking for a journalist. I'm looking for the different sectors you're working in. And this could complement your business because you can sell the business as a whole, but you can also sell yourself as the business. If you're good at that skill, if you say you have a photography company, and you're able to sell yourself as an individual, that still is revenue for you and the business. So this is a portal which employers are going to be able to access when they're looking to hire a young professional in whatever sector. They're able to come on the platform, view your profile, view all the certificates you've taken, view all the samples of the work you've done. Obviously, this is a very protected platform, so no one can come and pull out your business plan or pull out something. It's just viewers, and we highly monitor who uses the platform. It's not just for anyone. And you can see each other's work, but it can only be seen by potential recruiters, potential business funders, and the likes. So after being able to build this portfolio, the last and most important thing, which I think would be relevant for you, is to be able to have access to opportunities that are out there. So you have built this confidence. Some of you in here might have already been taking this journey and upskilling yourself and positioning yourself and creating a profile and doing all of that. Now you want to access opportunities because, again, you need access to the finance, you need access to different programs for trainings, you need access to whatever is out there that your business could tap into. This portal is also going to be a platform where you can browse all of this. Like at the Ministry of Youth, we have Youth Connect. How many of you know about Youth Connect? How many have applied for Youth Connect? How did that go?
I just saw the link and I applied.
What was the outcome?
Responses because I'm still waiting. I don't know.
When did you apply?
Like in July.
This year?
Yeah. maybe it's another program, but it's related with youth community.
That's strange because they haven't advertised for this year.
Okay.
So again, that's another thing. We always have at UNICEF, at the ministry, you might see on the social media pages, there's always a notice saying, beware of fraudsters. There are people reaching out, telling you they're giving you jobs, they're giving, funding for your businesses, and it's very likely for you to fall prey to such scams because you don't know which information is reliable, where to look for reliable information. It's on social media. Maybe the logo is the government. They're saying, this is definitely it, but it's not. So this again is something that could help you with that. Youth Connect, which is an annual competition where at a very big conference convening people from all parts of Africa, there's a competition kicked off shortly before. Like this year it's happening in October, so I think the Youth Connect Awards should start in September. And the competition gives so much funds to young people. Some of you may have heard of Ngabo Kalifia, He's one of the beneficiaries of the Youth Connect Awards. And I think if you follow him closely, you can see how far he has come from someone who just loved his hometown and thought it would be a beautiful destination to someone who has marketed into having hundreds of tourists coming from all parts of the world to visit Bigogwe. We all know this was not a tourist destination before. Musanze was, Rubavu was, Huye and the likes, Nyanza with the king and ancient culture, but Bigogwe was not. But with the funding he got, with the trainings he took, he was able to position this thing into a very, very big destination. And he always has clients. He has people coming from the United States, he has people coming from Europe to just experience and explore this thing that he has so beautifully marketed. So Youth Connect, we have the Abuka Fund, we have Hanga Pitch Fest, we have so many incubation programs that support young people who just have an idea. They're not saying come with a business that's been functional for 1 year. They're saying what is your idea? What is your pitch? What is your vision? And if you're able to package that properly with all the skills, the communications, the marketing, the budgeting, the finance management, all of that, if you're able to position it into something tangible, you're able to secure funding for your projects. You're able to know when Youth Connect is happening, when to apply, when to keep following up, who to follow up with, all on the Ingazi platform. So I've been talking for a while. I think I'm going to stop here and just maybe open up if you have any questions, you have any thoughts. There's something that we may have on the platform that I didn't mention, but I'll just stop here and first hear from you. UNICEF and the Ministry of Youth and the Ministry of Public Service.
Okay. So it's a public
platform. It's owned by the government.
Yeah, because there has kids so many business ideas. Because like I know some guys because it's giving a variety of opportunities for youth. Like for some of us have like a lot of creating something like this. Not like this because I have worked for a company which is called Soma Technology Company. It is also providing education regarding soft skills. And you know that most of courses we've taken in university are not matching up with what we're facing outside of university. So coming up with this solution is very amazing. First of all, I'm going to appreciate for this initiative for UNICEF, for government. It is really amazing work. I would like to ask for, like, we know that there's some people who are not able to reach for this website. I don't know if you have other options for those people who are living in remote zone or are having this telephone and not smartphones. Is there any options like, is there any possibility someone can be ambassador where there is lack of internet, there is lack of people, those people are not who are not able to get access to this amazing product of Ingazi?
We have partnered with Airtel and we're in discussions with MTN for the platform to be zero rated, meaning you can access it free of internet costs. So for Airtel currently you can, but for MTN it's still in the process. In addition to that, we have youth-friendly centers. Who knows of these centers?
Yeah, but in the sectors, right?
Yes, in all districts they're there. So these are centers that were established also by the Ministry of Youth, and they have computers with free internet, so anyone in any district can use the centers to access the platforms. But obviously, we're very mindful of the fact that there's people without internet, without smartphones, who maybe cannot even reach these centers, so we're continuing to explore, how we could make it as accessible as possible. The whole point of this is that other platforms are there. Again, we have Coursera, we have so many, LinkedIn itself has courses, but they're not free. You have to pay for them, you have to pay for the certificate. They use a lot of bandwidth for internet. So we're trying to come up with a solution that's accessible. That is the whole MO and the goal. But we welcome any ideas. If you ever feel like there's something that could be done in addition to that, it's also open for us to take into consideration. But currently, the youth centers are a touch point at each district. So if you don't have a computer, you just go to a youth center. There's a facilitator there to help you navigate how to use it, register, and also to browse anything that you may need on the platform.
So what about for people with disabilities, like those who are not able to read, because these skills are meant for all people, all Rwandans. So for those people who are not understanding English, who are not able to read and they understand English, what aim for?
So we're translating the platform. We actually launched it in May. It hasn't been a while. And since then, you understand that it's been a very busy period with the elections and everything, but we're translating the platform into English, French, and Kinyarwanda so that you're able to have it in the different languages. And in terms of disability, where we customize that is more in terms of content. So like the courses have audio options, they have video options, they have subtitles, sign language interpretations for some. It's something we're continuing to adapt as we go, but as of now, we have quite a number of courses that have as far as sign language interpretation. So, if it's an audio issue, you can read. If it's a sight issue, you can hear, or there's different modalities that are employed. I'm sure you'll understand, as UNICEF and both the government, we're huge champions on inclusivity. So these are not things we're taking into account after, but from the beginning. We had a series of consultations, and at each level we made sure that we're not just saying, okay, we'll first develop for the children or the youth without disabilities and then later think of the others. So this is something just to reassure you that has been thought of throughout the design. If you take some of the courses, this is something you'll be able to see.
She had a question? Yeah. First I wanted to ask, the courses that are there, who exactly are giving out those courses? For example, me as an entrepreneur, I would really appreciate to learn from a successful entrepreneur too. Or if I wanted to learn dancing, it would be really good to get that dancing skills from a person we already know who is a really good dancer and his brand is known. Because we already know that what he does is known and is proved to be success. So these courses that are here, on the platform, where do they really come from? Is it of that way, the courses, were they gotten from, those people?
Absolutely, these courses, they're developed by Microsoft. So we have financial literacy courses that are being developed by Equity Bank. We have insurance courses being developed by Sonargua. We have a course on human resources, but things that not human resources in terms of payroll, but things that anyone here could be concerned by. As a business owner, how to know how to treat your employees, their rights, what you need, what you owe them, their entitlements, what they owe you, that sort of thing. Personal branding, networking, things that are relevant to a young person transitioning into their career. That was developed by ITM Africa. So we are going to the best in the industry to make sure that, again, you already have most of the users of the platform some have not been in school, but most of them are people like you who are in university, have completed university, are joining it soon, are into vet school and the like. So you want to be able to learn from the companies that have the potential of hiring you, or the best leaders in the industry. So definitely that's the approach. Instead of giving you more modules than what you've already consumed, but real life workplace readiness skills. And on the learning from experts, we're also part of the Ingazi Career Hub. On the opportunity side, you have things like internship. I spoke about competitions because as entrepreneurs, I figured that's what would be most relevant to you. But we have things like internships, we have jobs, we have, like the UN has a volunteering program called UNV, which most people don't know about. Everyone assumes that to work in the UN, you need to have like 5 masters. I don't. So you can actually secure a job in the UN with only your high school diploma. You know, a very well-paid job called general services. The category, sorry, is called general services. Could be programs, operations, different things, but with a high school diploma, you can qualify. The UN Volunteers Program takes in people and places them in UN jobs. So you could be working, say, in the education department at UNICEF as a volunteer. And when we say volunteer, people think that's like Shadia, who is not paid, but you're actually paid up to sometimes even $1,000, you know, with 100% insurance, with very great benefits. But people don't know about these things, and they don't know what is the criteria for the jobs, and so they end up not applying. So we have all these, the jobs, the volunteering programs, but we also have a mentorship hub where you can link with professionals in your sector. So it could be that you secure to participate in a group discussion where, say, you know, you're interested in the banking sector and you're learning from the CEO of Bank of Kigali or National Bank of Rwanda or Minister of Finance, or someone more technical who you want to learn from, who does the day-to-day that you would be doing. Or it could be that you are qualified for a one-on-one session. Those are the 2 options. It could be a group session where many people are learning from one person, or it could be a one-on-one. Maybe you're someone who has highly performed. You've taken many courses on Ingazi. Your portfolio is very strong, and you just need a mentor to help you in a one-on-one session. That's also going to be a feature of the portal. So just to answer your question, that we do acknowledge that it would be important for young people to have a chance to, like, this is a wild guess, but, you know, speak to a very, like, well-known musician, or like if you were to speak to Wizkid, you know, you're venturing into music. Speaking to him might help you get insight into what are the steps I need to take. Speaking to a Nigerian actor instead of a Hollywood actor, they might have more insight into the African context, telling you, you know, what their experience was and helping you make informed decisions. So just definitely look out for the Career Hub. That's something that would have that in there.
I get that, is that the course specifically gets into that. An example I would give, I'll go back to personal branding to be specific. Because you know that many people, what we do is what maybe like your parents want. Maybe if I really want to go into arts, I want to be a dancer. But then I decided to go to high school. But then after high school, I want Ingazi to venture still in what I want. I went in high school, but then right now I want to venture into, like, to go deep. If I want to be a dancer, I want to learn dancing. Like, do you guys have courses?
If you become, business is not just about sales, it's about relationship building. You want to build relationship with your customers so they want to come back.
Higher education institution can fall short of producing workplace-ready candidates. This discourages employers from onboarding fresh graduates unless they offer capacity building opportunities. So I think this is the problem you are solving, this platform Ingazi is solving. I don't don't know why I'm thinking otherwise, because I don't understand how the higher level institution can fail producing a competent graduate or candidate.
You don't understand how?
Yeah, I don't, because that's the problem I should be solving. Not the problem of having the incompetent graduate. The problem should be, like the solution should be capacitating the universities and the higher level institutions.
That would be the Ministry of Education.
The institutions that are working on this, UNICEF, Ministry of Youth, LRGB, and so these are the big national institutions that can collaborate with the Ministry of Education to empower the high level institutions to produce the quality candidates. So maybe this Ingazi can come in to onboard those produced graduates, to onboard them.
That's exactly
with these other institutions, to place them there as the volunteers and doing internships to apply what they learned in the university
exactly
by providing the work studies. Otherwise, learning is a continuous process. I accept that and I agree we need to keep learning. But coming from university and go to Ingazi to keep learning things that you don't know where am I going to use these things. First, universities and schools are empowered to produce quality candidates. Then those candidates who are produced are taken to the workplace to apply what they have learned. Then the continuous learning comes while they are still practicing.
You'd be mindful of different institutions and their different mandates. So empowering capacity building of universities would fall more under the Ministry of Education than Ministry of Youth. Ministry of Youth is supposed to create an enabling environment, support young people so that they can successfully transition from school to work. So who here has completed the university studies? Oh, I don't know if this is personal information, but how were your grades in university?
70%.
So you succeeded. Are you employed? Do you have a successful business?
I'm trying to start this second.
And that doesn't mean that to deliver what they're supposed to deliver. You're graduating with honors, you're graduating with distinction, but you're still going into the workforce and being told you don't have the technical skills we need. And these technical skills are very, what's the right word? They're very specific to industries and to sectors. So these are not things that are embedded into school. So when you're learning banking and financing, or finance in general, you're not getting all the insights into banking that a bank would give you in a course. I don't know if that is making sense. So you are learning what you need to learn in university, but after that, if you're open, like that's why when you say you don't understand, I was a bit skeptical of whether this is the Rwandan context you're being mindful of, because people are graduating with the best degrees, with honors, you know, and still they're being told you don't have the skills we need to hire you. And companies are not hiring them because of that. If they hire you, you're an intern and that's like the most, or you're an intern for 5 years before you're allowed to transition into something else. It leads into people being exploited, people being discouraged to apply for opportunities because they feel like they don't have that technical edge that you need to know. So in like Europe, in the United States, in really progressive countries, career guidance is something that young people start very early, from like secondary school, where they're able to know, I want to apply to Harvard. What do I need to do? I need to get extra units by doing sports, by doing leadership courses, in addition to what you're learning in class. So this doesn't mean with Ingazi you don't need to go to school, but it's after school you're able to now take what you've learned, get skills to help you apply it in the workplace. So I don't know if that makes sense, but it's more of a complementary effort than a replacing one. So it's not, you don't need university, you don't need high school, because there's no way you could learn what you learn in a bachelor's degree on Ingazi in 1 day. These are like 2-hour courses, 5 hours at most. So if you're being reasonable, you can summarize your whole university degree into 5 hours. You learned what you needed to learn then, but now for you to be able to say, okay, I learned agriculture, but I'm not going to apply every seed I learned. I'm not going to plant every seed. Here I'm gonna maybe take a course on maize farming and now like really look at that, look at countries that export most maize, look at countries that don't have maize that I could export to, look at tariffs for logistics across different countries, look at trade barriers, but that are now specific into what you want to do. So remember, you have the career pathway guidance that helps you now. Okay, you have a degree in this, you have a diploma in high school in this. What do you want to do? What are the options? Also being mindful that with the way the world is moving, there's always a new sector coming up. Like before, when someone said marketing, we all thought of the people who go around with t-shirts and like do sales and try to sell things to you. Or it's in the newspapers, or it's an ad on the radio, on the TV. But now it could just be a fun TikTok where someone makes you notice like Colgate, or someone makes you notice how noodles are the best cure for hunger or something. So there's so many more ways and sectors that you could venture into. And with the career pathway guidance, and then now the skills that, again, remember, these are not academic modules, but companies saying, it's a very short course in most cases that a company is telling you, here's what you need to know about this sector before you come apply. So what you have is, you have that edge and that confidence that in addition to my degree, I have also learned what this company wants me to know about their sector, about how they work, before I apply or before I join. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Take it this way, but I'm not convinced.
It's great.
No. So I think I mentioned this as a disclaimer in the beginning. We don't want to supervise you learning in Ingazi, because at the end of the day, even if I teach you, we know that you've sat through lectures sometimes and not heard a thing, or not followed, or not retained any information. So this platform only works for someone who has the willingness to learn and acquire the skills. Otherwise, it's honestly useless for you. Sorry, you had a question.
Yeah. So thank you so much, Alice. What is the credibility of your certificate? So I'll speak from the HR perspective. Like for us, let's say I work with ITM, by the way. There are some certificates that we see on someone's CV, and then you're like, oops, I think now you have what I need, like right away, because we know the credibility of the certificate, right? So I'm asking the credibility of the courses that are taught by Ingazi. Also, so after that, I would like that maybe you take us through the practicality of the platform, like take us through the platform, like log in and let us see the features and how you use the features. Yeah, I think that would
Give me access so I can do that. Happy to take you through it. For the credibility, maybe I'll throw back a question at you. If you're receiving applications and someone has a certificate with ITM at the bottom, does that give you some credibility, or do you still just discard it and say this person?
No, it does.
So that's the kind of credibility we're offering. It's not obviously it's government, it's user, but the course provider is the one that certifies the course.
Oh.
So it gives you credibility based on the sector you're in. So if it's a financial literacy course and EQT sees, oh, this person took our course that we give our staff who are professional, it gives them that credibility. If it's a fellow bank, they're able to have that similar credibility, because we're not going to have 10 courses from 10 banks. Again, that's also confusing, but yes, so course providers.
So you need access to the
Yes.
See what's on the career hub and
It's not
this
yet
one.
live. It will be live in September.
Oh, okay.
Which exactly date, please?
I'll say early September, so not later than 15. It's on the portfolio. When you sign up is where you're able to say, okay, I have taken, I've gone as far as high school, I have gone as far as university. All this information is not required to learn. To learn, all you need is an email and the username and I think a password, and that's it.
Because you say there's internships, job opportunities, they're included in Career Hub.
Yes.
So to access them, you're supposed to sign up and take the courses, then after you can have them. Or you can just don't take courses and
You definitely have to take courses. For you to access, I think there's like 3 minimum certificates.
minimum to be done.
Because again, at the end of the day, we're coming to employers and saying, give young people space in your company, okay? Taking maybe 5 interns. They also need to know that we're not just picking random people who don't have the skills and placing them into their company. They want to have that assurance that, for instance, ITM wants to know that a HR intern that's working with them took the HR course on Ingazi that they developed. They want to know that you have communication skills, that you have basic public speaking skills, whatever. That depends on the sector you're in. But you do have to take some courses before you're able to apply for opportunities.
Okay, I wanted to ask, what does it take to access to those courses? Like, do you have to pay or it's free?
You did the demo.
And I still have
You still have a question?
people who invented Ingazi. They want what was their intention. I see that they help the youth to access to those courses and learn, but what do they profit from it?
They, in this case, having a skilled labor force of young people is providing young people with access to opportunities so that they, in turn, can also become active citizens and contributors of the nation. So we have issues like youth unemployment, youth having limited skills to join sectors. So it's a number of issues in addition to like what you said. Obviously in a mission you're going to state one specific issue, which is people transitioning into the workforce don't have that technical edge that companies need them to have. But you have issues like youth unemployment, you have issues like access to information, on opportunities. Like these Youth Connect competitions, there's a common issue where every year the same people are applying. So if you found out about it this year, next year you'll be looking out to apply again. And maybe you'll tell your cousin, but it's recycled among the same recipients. And sometimes you'll have a situation where a young person applies for one competition, they succeed, they get the money, they go to another competition, they succeed, they get the money. Because the information is with the same people, but through our outreach mechanisms, we're making sure that the information about these opportunities is spread out across the country. So like the rural-based area youth, those who have disabilities that make them not be able to browse through and see what's happening, for all these people to get the information so that they have an equal chance at applying. So I'd say the goal for the government is for young people to be able to have the skills and the access to opportunities that they need. How do you do the act?
That's
part of the course, which is the introduction, and you have a bit of a summary of what the course is about, what to expect once you complete the course, and like duration. It says 1 to 2 hours based on how much time you're able to allocate at once. And then, so once you're ready to start, you press yes and submit. Right, so we'll take the first part. I'm scrolling through these things a bit fast, but the goal is you're supposed to read these things. So, part 1 is about this, part 2 is about that. And then at different parts of the courses, you have something called small questions. Sorry, we're a bit dispersed. Could I have your attention, please?
You can try it on the laptop.
I'll give it. Maybe you could try it a bit later. I just want to take you through one before you're able to go through it yourselves. Yeah? Could we all face the front for a minute, and then you can test it out and share any questions. I think I'll also be with you on the last day, so in case there's something we haven't addressed today, we can do it on the last day. So at different parts of the course, you have questions which are supposed to help you understand the material and consume it effectively. So like here you're asked, what is a habit? And you have to give 2 correct responses between a bad thing to do like smoking cigarettes, an activity that you do regularly, a good thing to do, and habits can be both good and bad. So anyone who has a thought, what is a habit? Which one is the right answer?
No one has an idea?
Yeah? A and C. So you come down and you press submit. And if the answer is correct, you get that's correct and a bit of a description of why. If it's wrong, obviously that sticks with you that you got the answer wrong, and when you go back, you're able to get the right answer. So when we said interactive, this is what we meant. It's not just you scrolling through a course and getting tired, but you're able to engage with the content. There's different quizzes at every stage of the course to help assess whether you're understanding what you're being taught or you're just scrolling through. So this is maybe where I'd say we monitor if you're learning or not, because whether you're doing it randomly, or at least you know what the right answer is and what the wrong answer is, which is the whole point of the learning. You're able to know if I'm in a health hazard, how to, treat the different situations, what's the right thing to do, what's not the right thing to do. And it goes on like that. And at different parts, you also have links that take you to more detailed notes if you want to understand in depth what a habit is beyond what has been taught on the course. So we have this other example here that says one is a neutral habit, a bad habit, and a good habit. And then on the right, we have, you're supposed to match 3 sentences. One says, eating a lot of sweets when I'm stressed, taking the same route to work or school, or getting good quality sleep regularly. Which one is a neutral habit between these 3? A neutral habit is something that doesn't do good or bad.
Guys, what's a neutral habit here?
Taking the same route.
Okay, we have a bad habit. Which one is a bad habit between the 2?
Eating a lot of sweets.
And then a good habit. So you see, whether you're just scrolling for the certificate, the way the courses are displayed, you will have to engage the course somehow. You will have to think before you answer. And if you don't get the answer right, it says it to you. Maybe let me just get one answer wrong here. Actually, we can do it on the next part. It's okay. So this says that's correct. I'll do it on the next section just so you can see when you get an answer wrong how that goes. So this is on good physical health habits. Click your responses in the column below to best describe what you do now. I think this is not an assessment. Anyways, so I get enough sleep, never. Is not eager to learn, who doesn't give it the full commitment, the platform would not serve you any purpose. But as people who are trying to venture into business, who are trying to take sort of a hold of your own future, come up with something, get investors, get clients, establish something from scratch, the least you could do is to give yourself some time to learn and build these skills that you might not have enough time for once maybe your business is up and running, you know? Now would be the good time to say, okay, I have, prepared, I've taken all the skills I need to take, and I'm ready to venture into something when the opportunity comes. So like if you're taking courses between now and September 15th, by the time the Career Hub is live, you're applying for a grant, but with, you have your degree, you have your certificates. If there's a training, a webinar, you've taken it, you're able to show that you've gone through all that. You can trust, just like she said, that if she sees someone with an ITM certified course applying at their company, she will give you that credibility because she says, okay, if this person has taken a course which us as staff take, surely they've taken something. Maybe it might be on the job that they figure out that you were just scrolling through the course, but at least, it's helped you even get into the interview room. Maybe it's helped you get the job, and then the problem becomes you can't deliver because you didn't really learn and pay attention to the course fully. So if there are like 2 final questions, I'd like to take them and rush to something else. And then maybe I'd ask everyone who's here to take some time between now and Friday to just browse the platform. I know you might have some more questions to help you understand, but the focus should be more, a bit less on why and how this platform came to life, but more of how can it serve. So like now we have courses that we're mapping out, financial literacy, arts, dance, marketing, which we identify through consultations with young people to say, what do you need to learn? And then we're using that list that we developed in February this year to reach out to companies and say, we need courses on these subjects. But if there's a course that's not on there that you feel like you need, we have social media pages. If you could check out Ingazi Official on LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, you can always just drop a DM and that's taken into our course recommendations list. And if the course is not there, then it's just a matter of time before we can find a partner who's able to provide and give you access to such a course. So it's...
Yes, thank you. I wanted to ask if Ingazi have